With the Buttkicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Buttkicker. The future is feeling.
Series presented by the Buttkicker. My name is DJ Clark, and we are ready for a cracking race here today. I'm joined in the booth by Terry Radford. And Terry, this is going to be a great race, probably some more overtaking than we saw last time out. These Indy cars, obviously never having run at Interlagos in real life, well, it's just one of the joys of the sim that we get to see them running here today.
Yeah, absolutely. This is normally an F1 racing surface, but you take the Indy cars out here, especially the older Delaras. They run through these sweeping corners, and there's a lot of elevation changes. You have an uphill, downhill, tight S's. This is just going to be one of the coolest races of the year. I'm telling you right now. I'm excited. This is my first IndyCar race.
Well, you picked a great one to be a part of. We also want to thank our track cameras here, presented by Dougie Beard, as well as our director and producer behind the scenes, Connery Maddock, as we welcome you to the Edifice Sao Paulo Indy 300. As there you can see our schedule for the year for the Classic IndyCar Series presented by the Buttkicker. We are in that third race at Interlagos. Next time out, next month, we're going to head back up in the U.S. to Laguna Seca, and then we hit some ovals: Iowa, Nashville, Gateway, Belle Isle, making a return onto the schedule, and obviously ending the year with the 500-mile race at Indianapolis on November 13th. And just as always, the Classic IndyCar Series strives to present a full race distance. So we've got 71 laps around this circuit. Fuel strategy going to be something that we're going to be talking about over the course of the race. Looking like this is going to be a two-stop race as they go around. Want to run you through the driver's standings as well. With only two races down, there's still a lot to change, but it is Henry Bennett that leads the way over Joshua Chin to the tune of about 10 points. Stefan Schlacher, they're back in third, a little ways back, but still within striking distance. Jan Hoffman and Thomas Mustonen in a very, very tight battle with him for that final podium position. You can see Matthew Molnar, Sebastian Kinder, Cam Dance, Ian Dirks, Randy Shoemake, Andrew Aitken, and Ethan again also in that conversation in the top 10. Although I will say Ethan again has looked very, very fast here today in practice and in qualifying, so he may be one to watch out for.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an opportunity here, especially at a track like this, to where you got 15 turns around here. They have an opportunity to flip track position, maybe short pit, try a different stint than what the rest of the drivers are doing. 71 laps around this circuit is just going to be the most entertaining race, I would say, all season. And I'm an oval guy, so you said Nashville's on the schedule. That's pretty entertaining too. But like you said, Styles is fast. Grozer is up there. Joshua Chen just jumped in here in warm-up. He was fast in practice too, but these lap times at a 1:18.7 so far, and that's not even as fast as they'll get. We could see rough, maybe 1:17.9s. It's a very fast circuit as you look at the downhills right here.
It is indeed, and the draft going to be very, very crucial around here. The run from the junction all the way up into the Senna S, that long curving front pit straight will be something to take into consideration. We do quickly want to thank our sponsor for the race today, Edifice Incorporated. At Edifice Incorporated, construction is just as much an art as it is a science. It's about strong vision in the creating of a structure with enduring qualities. It's about creative problem solving and the willingness to deliver above and beyond the expected. It's about passionate teams and long-standing partnerships built on trust, performance, and lasting values. For more, visit edificeinc.com. Well, we have About 30 seconds left to go in a practice session, so let's go ahead and run you through the starting order for today's races. Everybody has already qualified. As we said, it is easy. Ethan Agon up in pole position. Cam Dance to his outside in P2. Henry Bennett and Joshua Chin will make up row 2 with Lucas LaVille and Marshall Stanley rounding out your top 6. In 7th position, it's going to be Jan Hoffman with Stefan Schlacher in 8th, Robert Grosser in 9th, Logan Simmons 10th, Jamie Wilson and Jan Dirks will make up row 6 behind them. Back in 13th position, it'll be Andrew Wood with Sebastian Kinder and Kevin Niolta there in 15th. Franz Joseph Stum will be 16th. Andrew Aitken will be in 17th for Aero X Racing, and Hans Pateken will be in 18th position. 19th overall is going to be Oscar Fredrickson, followed by Jack Stiles, Julian Altana, Randy Shoemake, and Jonathan Diggs round out your 23-car field here for today. As we get ready, a short pace lap around here, and as we said, it is going to be a very, very fast 71 laps that come at you. And Terry, we've already talked about how excited we are for this, but from the drop of the green flag coming down into the Senna S, that's going to be a real danger zone. Drivers are going to have to be very, very careful.
There's a lot of these corners here that you cannot go too wide in. There's some long sweeping corners that you can set up the overtake, but when you get down into the S's, the elevation change here, the moment you get to the top of the hill, that's not a place you want to take it too wide. You want to be right. You could go set up for the outside pass to set yourself up for the next corner, but too wide in turns 8, 9, 10, and even 11, don't do it, because you're going to wreck. I saw them in practice. They took it too wide, went off the circuit, and if you go off circuit here, you have a very strong opportunity. You're going to lose 3 or 4 spots, and then you have to work another lap to set yourself back up for a good lap.
Yeah, exactly. There is plenty of runoff here, so you may not necessarily find yourself in the wall, but you will find yourself skating across the grass for sure. Heading now out on the formation lap as they work their way down behind that number 20 machine. Cam Dance and Ethan Agon will be the ones that lead this field to green. Joshua Chin and Henry Bennett, your chief title protagonists in that second row. Watch out for the 2 of them. Always somebody to watch out for, as well as Stefan Schlacher starting back in 8th. A little bit surprised to see a couple of drivers starting farther down in the field, but there's plenty of time for this race to be made up on. Now they head their way right now into the junction. As we said, very crucial corner. This is one of those ones that you really want to nail to be able to get the good run down this long pit straightaway and set up what could be the best overtaking opportunity going into the Senna S. We also may see some good fight bats coming out of the Curva del Sol and down into the Desito do Lago, but that will be after the green flag drops. The iRacing pace car working its way around, and this is a very, very fast pit entry here. Could be talking about some pit lane speeding penalties if drivers aren't careful, but the field comes to a perfect formation there, 2 by 2. Pace car scampering off into the inside. Eyes turning to Barney the flag man as we get ready to go, and there goes the green. We are racing in Sao Paulo. It is a good start for Dance and Agon as they are able to pull out ahead, almost 3 wide there behind, as I believe that was Stefan Schlacher. Oh, as we've got an immediate kerfluffle into turn 1. All kinds of cars turn sideways.
Oh my goodness, DJ, that's exactly what we talked about on the initial start. It's a long sweeping straightaway going into turn 1, going down into the S's. Drivers took it 4 wide, cautions out. There's cars everywhere. Carnage has broke out already.
Indeed, there are. I'm seeing right now drivers that are definitely involved. Marshall Stanley, Jan Hoffman, Robert Grosser, Logan Simmons, Jamie Wilson, Andrew Wood, Kevin Niolta, Jonathan Diggs, Oscar Fredrickson. Let's take another look at this, Terry. Talk me through what happened.
Man, you just see it there. It's just like an instant checkup. We saw it. I can't see where it started. I believe it started with Simmons. Yeah, he gets into the back of the car in front of him. Send him wheel hopping around, and you see it here. So it's about 4 rows deep. We get it here. They come down to the corner. It's just an instant cut, and then bam, everybody's flipping. Oh gosh, what a wreck already.
Well, and that is the danger of running open wheelers trying to come down into there, and you can see drivers that tried to get back around on it and still having problems, almost going all the way down into the Curva del Sol. There's that fan out. A great start in the back by Stefan Schlacher, although I think Schlacher may have lost a couple of positions in the braking zone. There's the flip again, just so much carnage, so many drivers here a lap down. As we said, safety car deployed. That does happen here on the road racing side when you have such a big incident like this. Oh, I didn't see that. That was 34 that got a little bit of a tag. I believe that was Franz Josef Stum that got turned around there at the end. There is your safety car redeployed out on track. It's going to equalize the field out here a little bit. But wow, talk about a start.
And that just wiped out 15th on back. I mean, you've got Stanley, Hoffman, Grosier, Simmons, Wilson, Wood, Kevin Natola, Diggs. They were all on pit lane. Like, they were already down on pit lane, and we didn't even get through turn one. We made it to the crest. They weren't even on their first right-hander of this circuit, and we've already seen chaos. So there's a lot of drivers already taking the damage repair, and these cars are very hard to fix. There's no quick repairs in this series. So what you do in the initial part, in which I thought they were going to take it, kind of, relaxed and go down, get a lap under their belt, warm the tires up, get some heat in the brakes. Because you talked about a short pace lap here. These tires and these brakes really have to be pumped. They have to get warm. You have to have some temp in them to get them through those S's, because it's a tight corner. Oh man, they got heat in it all right, but it's heat under the collar, not heat in the brakes.
Yeah, indeed they did. And what this is going to do is this is going to change around some fuel strategy potentially. As I said, we were looking at about a 2-stop race. Now, you can go on a full tank of fuel here and probably extend this out to about 28 to 30 laps on a full tank. But what we were expecting drivers to do a little bit more was to pit in around the 23, 24, 25 point mark over the course of the race, short fuel a little bit, and make sort of 3 equal stops, 3 equal fuel loads over the course of the race. This is obviously going to extend that first stint. I don't think it's going to be enough to see drivers push out all the way and necessarily be able to make this a one-stop race, but it's certainly going to factor in. We could see a little bit more of aggressive attacking, not having to worry about fuel. By the way, it does look in the back there, taking a look at Stefan Schlacher's machine, some pretty heavy damage to the rear wing, so even some of the drivers that are out running right now still having some damage as a result of that first one calamity.
And that wing damage there is really going to hurt the long straightaway speeds. This track is known. You talked about it being fast. I would equivalent this one to maybe a Watkins Glen on the NASCAR side, because you have such fast speeds going down these straightaways, and you have the longest one coming all the way out of 14, going to 15 there in the kink. You're wide open. You're wide open to hit that little bit of a turn, which really isn't much of a turn. You could theoretically call this a 14-turn road course, but it is 15 for that small one. That's fast. And then you go all the way out through 4, go down that long straightaway into the sweeping corner of 5. There's a lot of opportunity to be full throttle here. That's going to hurt there on the long straightaway speeds, but it really shouldn't hurt him too much in the corner if he could keep it going through the middle part of this racetrack.
Yeah, indeed, and that's something that we will talk about over the course of the race, that this really is sort of a tale of 2 circuits. You have that first and third sector that are just absolutely flat out, and then you get into the infield coming up through the Ducks Bill and Pirahenio, all of those very, very tight hairpins, and I think you're right. If Schlacher is just able to keep up some time there, it could save him a little bit. Just to recap you, by the way, as the lights on the pace car are out right now, Cam Dance was able to get ahead of Ethan Agon to take over the lead. Joshua Chin able to get ahead of Henry Bennett and Lucas LaVille, holding on to 5th. Everybody else behind them, a lot of movement as a result of that heavy damage into turn 1.
What a start to this race. We were excited, DJ, before it ever dropped the green. But this just changed the complexion of this race. You've lost the wake of the draft. You're going to lose that. There was 22 cars out here. Now you're down to 13. that theoretically have an opportunity to go. So flipping track position really isn't going to be too big, because if you look at it, there's 4 laps down from 14th on back. Now you do have an opportunity to make up some time, and 13th isn't a bad spot. So, oh, goodness.
Goodness indeed. But as we head now out of these final couple of corners into the infield section, we will hopefully get back. Green flag running here on lap 4. Once again, if you're just joining us, a massive pileup on turn 1, bringing out the yellow flag to start out this race. The field will reform and restart behind Cameron Dance in the 88 machine. Ethan Agon, Joshua Chin, Henry Bennett, and Lucas LaVille raking up the rest of your top 5. As here we come past the Subidostos boxes in this Interlagos circuit, that part of that flat-out run that you talked about, Terry, as they will be taking that at full chat once we get up to speed and just ready to turn these classic Indy cars loose. Pace car ready to pull off down pit lane. There it goes. Control the field goes to Cameron Dance, and Cameron is going to wait to get on the green a little bit, and there goes the flag. We are back racing again, and it looks like still a little bit of side-by-side there. I think that was Bennett trying to make a little bit of a move on Joshua Chin. A little bit more contained, a little bit more calm. Stefan Schlacher trying to get that damaged car up into P5, and he's been successful to get ahead of Lucas LaVille, but everyone makes it down through the Senna S cleanly this time, and it's now down the Retro Aposta, and everyone weaving, trying to break that draft a little bit.
Yeah, you're going to see this all race long, and the 28 of Stefan, he was able to keep pace. You know, that's what we were thinking under the caution, is can he keep pace in these wide open areas? And he has. He's getting right here into the middle portion of the track, into the second sector here, and he's going to be able to work. They're all trying to break the wake and get to the outside because they know they're faster. They see the damage. Lucas is really going to try to work this sector right here to get through the gears. You hear that? A short shift, and then he winds it back down, winds it down again, back to 2, and then it locks up in front of him. That could have been big if he would have locked it up just a little bit longer.
It could have indeed, and now is the first time we are really going to see what Schlacher's car is going to be like in a straight line as they work their way out of Jinsao and up the hill, trying to see what it is. It looks like that car already ailing a little bit for top line speed, as LaVille is going to be able to make that move going to the outside here as they round the corner past the pit straight, and that is Schlacher down a position. Jan Dirks, the next driver that is going to try to make it by Stefan. Stefan's going to hold the inside, though, and he's going to be able to at least hold on to that position through the first part of the Senna S. He has got it locked down, and so that will be Schlacher holding on to P6, but that car definitely looking very damaged in that straight line.
I want to touch on something that we just saw there going into that turn. You saw that this is not your normal road course. This was built a long time ago, back in the late 30s, where you had banking on road courses. Most of these tracks with this elevation change, they have a bank corner. So that corner is very banked. You have an opportunity to carry the momentum on the outside. You see right here with the 45 of Dirks, he's trying to set up the pass. They go through the second sector. They'll come down through these S's here, go to this little small kink. They're still, you see Slugger, he's still locking the tires up there. Not a whole lot of heat still in them. And that right front really has taken a beating so far in the early stages of this race.
Yeah, it certainly is. That car not looking like it is exactly performing in the best way possible, as that Apex Tech racing machine now closes behind Schlacher. He's going to get a nice little helping of the draft as he moves his way to the outside, almost a carbon copy there of what we saw Lucas LaVille do a lap ago. Going to go to the outside around the Subidostos boxes and able to make that pass. So moves Stefan Schlacher down into P7. I think that is going to be a story that is going to continue to play out over the course of this race, is that rear wing really coming back to bite him. Meanwhile, up front, it continues to be Cameron Dance leading from Ethan Agon as they dive down now into the Descida do Lago. Joshua Chin falling off the back of these two just a little bit. He's about 7.5 tenths of a second behind this leading pair.
And those two right there, of Denance and Agon, they've carried so much speed. Last time by, ran a 1:18.6 and a 1:18.7. That's good speed. That's really good speed through here. They're able to carry the inside of the track. The infield portion here is where you really can make up a lot of time. A lot of people lock up the tires like what we saw Stefan do, where he's locking up the right front, not able to get all the way down onto the curbs, work the banking here. So it's interesting to see what Chen can do as we take a look right here with Julian in that 31, the Velocity Online Racing machine here, working through the field, being very consistent, but a little bit off the pace, almost a full second off of what our leaders are running.
Well, and I think part of that was he had to get his way by Stefan Schlacher as Schlacher's bleeding continues. He is down to 8 right now. Altena able to move his way up into 7th. You saw that track heat description there. It's about 96 degrees Fahrenheit out on track right now. And so that does mean that this is going to be a little bit toasty. You're definitely going to have to conserve those tires, and all of those lockups that we're seeing from these drivers, not exactly what you want to have happen. You do not want to be in a position to be overcooking the tires around here. There is a lot of lateral load that gets put onto these tires through these long sweeping corners that you've been talking about, Terry.
Yeah, there's a ton of load that you're going to put on it. And you can sit here and say it all day long and compare it to tracks. This track is unique to itself because of how much history is involved with this track. Whenever they created this track, I'm sure somebody was like, I got a great idea. Let's make this really tight but really fast, and we're going to put great laps down. I mean, we're putting a minute on a lap around this racing surface, and Agon right now has become the fastest driver on the track by 0.2 of a second. Is starting to catch, and his catching here is not coming in the place you thought it would come. It's the infield portion of this, Sector 2. We keep talking about how tight those corners are. Really doing a good job out braking Dance here. He's going to do it again there as they come through the corner. He started gaining on him again, goes through the sweep, goes down to the S's, and it continuously closes in. Really good on the right and left-handers here.
Yeah, very, very good. That gap coming down under 0.4 of a second, tickling at about 0.3 before they break down into the Descida do Lago. I'm getting the sense here that Ethan Agon is just kind of waiting things out, maybe doing a little bit of fuel saving, trying to extend these stints as long as possible, take as little fuel as he can during the course of that pit stop cycle. Again, we anticipate a 2-stop race here, although that's going to be thrown a little bit for a loop as a result of that caution period that we had early on, as a result of the big kerfluffle in turn 1. Now, we also talked about Joshua Chin there in the background. Chin was a little bit closer than these two, but he has fallen off to the tune of about 1.3 seconds right now. Definitely losing some time, and it's looking like this is starting to be a 2-horse race between Dance and Agon.
Yeah, and for Chin right here, yeah, he's falling back. His pace started out great. He was running a 1:18.7, and now it's back to a 1:19.3. Has had wide open track, no stopping for other people throughout the corners, and really not having to lock him up to get down there. But he's catching a good draft down the front straightaway here, going into turn number 1 into the downhill portion. You know, we continuously talk about fuel mileage, DJ. Well, you have to think here. If you're a Gon, you're in the draft. If you're Chen, you're catching a lot of draft too down these long, very long straights. Maybe, just maybe, this is a Gon strategy from the beginning, is keep him a half a second distance and just sit there and catch the wake of the draft. You don't have to spend too much fuel. You can let the draft carry you along no matter what. The only time you really have to be on the gas is off exit the corners just to make sure you carry the straightaway speed.
Exactly, and almost in response to what we were saying about Joshua Chin. Josh, if you're listening to the broadcast, we didn't mean that as an offense. He does set the fastest lap of the race, as if to respond to me saying he was falling off the back of him there. So definitely what that was. Josh has some speed in that car, in that very familiar 93 for Team Chimera, as they work their way out of junction right now, getting ready to start on lap 10. Again, of 71 laps here. We anticipate pit stops probably firing off between about lap 25 to 27 is going to be my revised estimate based off of what we've seen. Just the smallest little bit of a weave there from Cameron Dance, and I can tell you I was riding on board with the 20 of Ethan Agon there. Definitely some lifting and coasting near the back end of that straightaway. So I think you are right, Terry. Some fuel saving going on for that iconic motorsports machine.
And not to take away from Chen's lap time there, because it was very impressive. He's almost a tenth faster on the field with his lap time. But you have to think, he's 1.6 seconds back, and he was 1.4 when he laid that lap. The amount of draft that he's able to get on that time is tremendous. I mean, you see here, catching a little bit of the draft. Once they get out of these corners, get through this hairpin here, he's going to be able to get more because he's keeping the distance there. I'm not saying he didn't have speed, but he's allowed the top two to check away just enough that he doesn't have the liberty to coast like what Agon has been able to do right here. So with Agon, he's just saving tires, man. He's saving tires, he's saving fuel. There's no sense in pushing it. You don't want to be Dance here. He's going to have to. Dance is using more fuel than everybody, and I believe he's going to be the first on pit lane, probably about lap 25 in the early portion of your window, because he has no other option. He's burning more fuel out there with all the downforce on the front end of this car.
Yeah, exactly. As there you see Agon closing up a little bit under braking. Once again, Shin did have that gap down to about a second as they worked their way out of the infield section, so that could have been a little bit of a part of it as well. A little bit of a different line there for Ethan Agon. I'm getting the sense, I was going to say I'm getting the sense he's just very calm and content to stay in line, but a little bit of a move to the inside there. Now, that necessarily wasn't a move to overtake, but definitely trying to get into the head of Cameron Dance, maybe seeing if he can just pick up a free move, be able to get to the inside, force a mistake out of that 88.
Got to make them think. I know we're only on lap 11, but you have to make your competition wonder what you're going to do next. This is a game of chess. And I'm no good at chess. I'm a checkers guy. So to see what Agon just did there, peeking out, making Dance have to wonder when is he going to make that move, or if he's going to make the move. Because like you just said, the mistake is huge here. There's a lot of runoff on this racing surface. We see it here. The last corner, you saw a little bit of runoff, but coming through these sweeping corners, once they get off the exit here, you're going to see how wide this track really is. You slide up just ever so slightly where the rubber in the heat's not, you're going up the track even further, and you're going to have to back off the gas. You're going to lose at least a half a second just right then and there from having to move out of the groove.
Yeah, indeed you are, and we talked a little bit about as they go and they continue to work their way around right here. We do actually have, that's not surprising at all. Stefan Schlacher going to be coming down pit lane. That car was definitely ailing.
Yeah. I mean, he was running 122.4s. He had to pace in it at first with a 119.7. Had a lot of speed, but his top speed was only 170. That's not going to cut it. That's 7 miles an hour slower than what Dance is running right now. 9 miles an hour slower than Agon. You can't have that here on the type of circuit that we're at. I mean, we keep talking about it. We're going to hit on it all race long how fast this track really is. It just proves. I mean, they're still putting down 118s. And we're 12 laps into this race, DJ, and we're still laying down some very, very quick laps.
Yeah, we are indeed, and we are just waiting to see when these will tick off here. Those 118s continuing to fire along, continuing to going along. Watching here as Agon keeping that gap perfectly. Cameron Dance responding, by the way, on that last lap, setting down a 118 flat. As he comes across, definitely responding to some of that pressure. We saw Agon poke his nose out. I think he knows that Agon is coming on strong. Ooh, this looks like it could be a little bit of something. Agon getting closer and closer. 3/10 as they make the braking down into the City Lago.
Remember when I said we could hit 117 nines? Well, Dance heard that, I'm sure. He's probably listening, paying attention. He's like, challenge accepted, Terry. This might be your first Indycar broadcast, but challenge accepted. I'm going to go do that. Agon's pressuring him, and that's what you need. Make Dance burn his stuff up. Agon only put down a 118.27, still fast, beat his best lap time there, but making Dance work harder and harder and harder. And eventually he's going to burn the rear tires off of this because this track temp just continuously is going up because, well, we're only at 2 o'clock in the sim. We haven't hit the hottest part of the day yet.
No, we have not. And this looks like a very, very good run for Agon. He's definitely closing in the gap under 0.2 of a second. We could see the move here if the number 20 machine wants to lead this race. Now, he can make the move here into the Senna S, or he may decide to back off a little bit. He's going to hold the gap back a little bit. That was the fastest lap, another 118 flat. This time it being set by Agon. A little bit farther back in the field, we've got some battles going on. That's Aitken and that's Henry Bennett as they work their way through. That's Joshua Chin losing a position to Bennett. Not sure what happened to Joshua Chin there. There must have been a mistake for the Team Chimera driver, but he wants that spot back from Bennett. But Bennett says, no, thank you, sir.
Joshua Chen, he had an incident. He bobbled in the rear end, got it off the track. I almost spun that car completely, and I keep saying this because it continuously becomes true. This is a technical racetrack with high speeds. You have to be on your toes at all points of this track because one mistake is seconds behind. You see the incident here. He overtakes coming out of turn at number 15 there. Was able to get the run, and that's because of this. Goes off the track, loops it around, and saves it. Just a four-wheel drift. Almost spun it out back here in the corner, and that's once again, you go off the racetrack here, you go to get back on the gas on those rumble strips, or at least off the circuit where there is no heat, there is no grip, the rubber is not laid down on this track. You're gonna have a tough time, and Joshua Chen just found out. Now he's 7 seconds behind the lead, and it's a two-car breakaway all the way with this field.
Indeed it is, and there we check back in on the lead there. Agon now under 0.3 of a second trying to make its way around, but I think the move that's going to happen here is going to be Joshua Chin. Chin's going to poke his nose to the inside as they go down the Retro Oposta, holding down into the Descida do Lago, and Chin has that move done. Does Bennett have a response at all? He tries to take a more narrow line and doesn't have it done. Chin has able to hold that out. May have been a little bit argy-bargy there between the two. Some radio chatter back and forth. Chin just letting a quick apology out, and so there may have been. But what this is allowed to have happen now is Lucas LaVille and Jan Dirks completely closed in on this battle. This is now a four-way fight for the final podium position.
Oh, and I really thought that Bennett right there was going to lock the tires up. Had a little bit of front-end smoke coming there when he got down into the corner, but was able to keep it going in fourth. The 007's doing a great job holding LaVille up. Dirks is right there waiting to overtake as soon as a mistake happens. Everybody's ready to capitalize on your mistake, DJ. You saw Bennett capitalize on Chen's, but Chen obviously is the faster car here. If we get another full course caution, I would not be surprised once we get into the latter parts of this race, we get some more heat in the track, the tires are going to fall off more. If you see the full course come out, car's off the track. That's Dirks. What a save to drive it off track, do some off-road here this afternoon.
Yeah, and it looks like he just missed that braking zone altogether. The Apex Tech racing machine just not having the best run. Let's take another look at this. This is going down into turn one, into the first part of the Senna S. It just looks like he missed his braking zone. And if I'm not mistaken, there is a little bit of rear wing damage to that machine. Yeah, just missed it and opted to take to that outside runoff there to save the car. And yeah, I'm not crazy. Just the slightest bit of left rear wing damage.
I think he was also trying to miss the back end of LaVille, who was in front of him there. It was a little bit of a checkup situation, and that's what tends to happen at a place like this. I could have swore I heard a crash in my ear, but I must be mistaken. You continuously go back here. We take a look at the battle for this race lead again. Dance is doing a great job. It has continuously stayed between 2 to 5/10 of a second to separate these two. They've been the class of the field. Agon gets a great straightaway going down into one. Still just a marvelous run for these two. For 17 laps to be on the board, and they're still this close to one another.
Yeah, and it looks like Agon's best run is coming up over the start-finish straightaway. He's not having the best of luck getting it down the Retro Oposta and being able to get that move done into there. He loses a little bit of time there going through that area, but he's able to gain it all back up with a good run out of the junction as they now sweep their way back up the hill. This battle between the two just seeming to be stabilizing. I've gotta be thinking that Agon is saving fuel, saving his tires, as you said. We're getting closer to the opening of that first pit stop window. Looks like Stefan Schlacher still down pit lane getting repairs, it looks like, from what I can tell, so he is the latest one out. We only have 13 cars running right now out of your field of 23, courtesy of that big incident on the first lap.
You only have 12 on the lead lap. Furthest one is Stum. He's 30 seconds back in 12th place. no challenge for him to overtake Buttkicker, who's up there on 11th. He's 26 seconds back. It's a 3.3 second gap between 11th and 12th. But the battle continuously is the race here. You have a half a second gap between Bennett and LaVille. But I mean, you can just continuously say it was the 27s around right there. That's Andrew and everyone. He's towing.
Yeah, Andrew Aitken having a little bit of a problem there. Let's go back and check out the replay. Now, this is through that infield section going down into... Does he catch the grass? No. He's going to bring it up here. Locks up the right front. Oh, that car just... wheel spin. Wheel spin on it. Just got a little bit too happy on the throttle, and that spun it right around.
Technical racetrack is all you can say about this. You get... The temp in the track is really what's throwing these drivers for a loop. Practice time, our temp was not very hot. We had the sun beating down on it. It was roughly around noon sim time. We were right on the money. Where the track temp was there, the air temp was roughly about 81 degrees, but the track temp was only about 82, 83. You look at us now, I don't know Celsius, but it looks hot.
35 degrees Celsius, about 95 degrees Fahrenheit there, and the only reason I know that is because I have Fahrenheit up on my screen. But again, doing some lifting going down into that first corner, not looking like he wants to go on the full attack here. Definitely getting the sense that that number 20 machine trying to just save a little bit of fuel, extend everything out. This is really our closest battle that we keep focusing on as these two continue to just kind of jockey and play this game. Joshua Chin a full 7 seconds back.
Yeah, I mean, Chen's starting to close in, but it was 9 seconds back for Chen. He's worked it down to 2, or down to 7. He's able to start going. Pit stops, when they start to happen, if I'm Chen, I'm short pitting here. He could come down to roughly lap 23, maybe do a little fuel saving when he goes into the S's down here, goes into the downhill portion, maybe coasting it down the hill to continuously carry speed. But still, what a drive. Now we have 11 cars still on the lead lap with Wood rounding out 12th. This is just an incredible run. I did some test laps here and I could barely keep it on the racing surface, but these two right here, lap after lap, have continuously kept putting down 118s. They haven't left this portion, and here they are, still a tenth of a second from each other.
Indeed, and bad news for fans of Stefan Schlacker, as it looks like he has retired from the race, we believe. But as this battle continues to just sort of stay stationary, let's go ahead and bring in Robert Grosser, one of the drivers that was taken out in that very big first lap kerfuffle. And Robert, first off, consolations to you, my friend. That is not the way you want to see your race end.
Yeah, thank you very much. That is indeed very sad. I could not expect a whole lot for this race, but still I was quite confident. I had a good rhythm. I like this track a lot. I didn't qualify completely terrible, so yeah, I was really looking forward to it and at least hoping it will last longer than not even one turn. Yeah, very sad. Second race in a row that I'm ending, yeah, like in turn 1. Most times I would say not really my fault. What to say? It's really sad.
Very sad indeed. And talk me through a little bit of what you saw happen to you out there. Obviously, just kind of a hapless passenger, but did you get just sort of bopped from behind and everything go crazy for you?
Yeah, it started a bit with the start. The leader decided to start only on the green light, which is fine. It's by the rules, but of course then from the green flag it's go time, so the field started spreading out. I was also like going on the green light, a bit hesitant still, but yeah, still making it like 3 wide in this moment with my teammate. I think it was Jan there on my, or Marshall on my left side, I don't know exactly. And then I took a very normal braking point, considering that we were like 3 wide, cold tires and all that. I braked at the 50-meter marker. Then I just got a hard hit from behind, and from there I was just flying, unfortunately, into one of my teammates, into Logan also, I think. So like pretty big number of cars got collected, and then that was the most interesting part. Yeah, I'm also like admin me and Lucas, but none of us were throwing the caution, so it must have been like an auto caution from iRacing, which I have never seen in 8 years of classic Indycar series. Never seen any automated caution on a road course, so that was a first one.
Well, how do you think that's going to play out, that caution strategy? I mean, is that really going to affect pit stop strategy here for these drivers? Obviously, they'll be able to save a little bit of fuel under the yellow, but is that going to greatly impact everything, or is it just going to push back the stints a little bit, do you think?
I was joking before the race that maybe Chin is going for the one-stopper because he has these kind of fuel-saving skills, and maybe this caution has helped him on that matter, but to be a bit realistic, I think the only thing that happens is the second version that you just offered, like it will just push back the regular pit stops a little bit, and that's it. So I think nobody is able to really go for the one-stopper.
Indeed, but looking ahead for you, maybe some brighter pastures as we go. Laguna Seca, a bit of a home battleground for these IndyCars. You looking forward to the race there?
I'm looking forward to every race Laguna Seca as well. It's definitely a hard track. Like I will be, if I am fortunate enough to survive turn 1, I will be busy just with the track rather than the competitors, because it is a big challenge. The opposite thing of Sao Paulo, what we saw here, like from the track layout and everything. But I'm really looking forward to each and every race and hoping to do well. But somehow my season doesn't want to kick off really. So it's like 3 bad races now already. At least I finished the first one, but only at P14. It can only get better from that point.
Well, it can indeed. Robert, once again, consolations to you on a very tough day. Thank you for joining us here in the booth, and we wish you a turn of luck next month when we head to Laguna Seca.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, that was Robert Grosser there, one of the drivers taken out in that first lap incident. He is currently categorized as back in 19th position, retired on the day. Terry, we check back in on this battle between Dance and Agon, and it has not changed at all. They continue to run line astern, although Joshua Chin has been able to close down a little bit since we started talking to Robert there. He has been able to close in about a second on this leading pair.
Yeah, I've been sitting back there watching what Chen's been able to do. He's really been a lot more technical than what he was in the early portion of the race. You see him, he's starting to expand out his line. He's trying to gain more speed, carry more speed through these corners. If you count by my account, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sweeping corners around this track that you have to keep your momentum, because it sets you up for a potential passing zone. You see him going down here. He's going to continue with the downhill portion, do the first sweeping corner to carry you to the first short chute. That carries you to another sweeping corner. Joshua Chin he's really laying him down. I said we were going to put a 117 on the board. 117.91, new fastest driver, Joshua Chin again, and he's coming with a head of steam.
He sure is, and crucially here we are about to start on lap 25, and remember that is about the point where we suspected that pit stops would maybe start to fire off courtesy of that caution period. You heard Robert Grosser talking a little bit about how he thinks it's just going to push everything back a little bit, as really trying to make this a one-stop probably not going to work, and you would have had to have almost committed to a one-stop before this race even began. So we're going to have to keep our eyes coming down pit lane. It's a very, very fast pit lane entry there. You can literally see it as they streak on by. Agon looking a little closer there, maybe having a little bit of a peek. He's going to stay back in line, everything staying status quo.
I think for Agon, the only opportunity I've seen him so far at making the passes, as you take a look at Cameron Dance's lap times here throughout 15 to 24. For Agon, if he's going to make this pass happen, he's going to have to get a better run off of 14. That's kind of been the place he stuttered a little bit. you go to the infield portion of this race into Sector 2. Sector 1 has been all Cameron Dance, but Sector 2 has kind of been a battle between Agon and Dance. Agon's been able to get him every now and again. You see him go through the corner there, lose some time. He goes down into the first very slow sweeping corner. He gains some time. So it's a 50-50 chance on which one's going to do which. There, Dance is going to get the run off the exit of the corner. It's going to have to come off of a better 14 for Agon. He didn't get it. He's not getting it so far here. Let's see what he can carry when he comes through this next corner.
Well, looks like he's a little bit farther back. Indeed, he's 0.5 of a second back. That's the farthest back we've seen him be pretty much since the drop of the green flag. Either driver coming down pit lane here, although we do anticipate that it is open season to come down into the pits. Joshua Chin, the Team Chimera driver, very, very well renowned for saving fuel, as Cameron Dance responding to Joshua Chin, setting down a 1:17.84 as your fastest lap.
Track's getting hotter, more speeds coming in here, and I mean, it's no surprise to anybody who's heard me on RaceSpot. I'm a NASCAR guy. I called the real sim racing stuff on Monday nights with Mr. Pasoko. When the track gets looser, you get a whole lot more speed out of it, and Cameron Dance has found a ton of speed. And he's doing it in places that I wouldn't expected him to do it. You see him pinching the corners down more here, sweeping out here. He's starting to get a lot tighter and a lot more technical around here. Oh, is that time the 20 locks up there. Almost got it around. He's now 0.7 of a second back, and he's starting to fade here.
Yeah, and those were two mistakes following one another after very, very shortly there, coming through that infield section. A little bit of a chink in the armor there for Ethan Agon, potentially. We jump you back in the field. This is Lucas Laville. This is the battle for P5. Ian Dirks maybe trying to close in behind there as that gap has come down to 0.6 of a second. The number 45 just coming along here. He's going to get plenty of that slipstream. Dance again, setting another fastest lap of the race, a 17.5. That, to me, is telling me that these cars are starting to run very low on fuel, and it is hammer time.
Oh, gosh, that's wicked fast. I mean, that's not just fast. That's crazy fast. At 1:17.5 around this track means you're really boogieing, and he's throwing them down, man. The Australian is just absolutely carving this track up, and when you go and watch the F1 races, I watched one this morning to prepare for this. Those drivers were able, obviously F1 carries more speed than what the Indy cars do, especially these Delaras. But you're starting to see Dance right here. He's starting to lock up the tires more. He's being more aggressive on the braking zone. That's what the F1 cars do. The F1 goes out, they dig deeper into the corner. They try harder to get in there. And each and every lap, when the tires start to wear down, the fuel starts to lose, in the rear end. It makes the rear end want to move around more. You have to find more. Dance is on it. And I mean, he is flat flying, and he just went out and backed up. He goes, you know what? I'll put a 1:17.6 down because whatever. It's just 8/100 slower than what I just did.
Exactly. The time's continuing to tumble here for the leaders. Checking back on Lucas Laville and Jan Dirks. That battle for P5 right now, still at about 0.7 of a second in between the two as they work their way down through the Senna S right now. Trying to see what they've got in store. Dirks looking a little bit like he wanted to almost poke his nose out there, but obviously very, very far back. And we've got the first taker down pit lane. Jack Stiles in the 59 going to be coming down here on lap 7 for fresh Firestones and a full tank of fuel. He is backing on his way.
Yeah, and that's not surprising at all for a driver a little bit further on in the back of this field to work their way onto pit lane. Now, when are the dominoes going to fall? You see Agon starting to work his way back up at 0.7 of a second. When is he or Chen going to come? Minutes 13 seconds back, almost 14, but he still has an opportunity to maybe flip track position. Fresh tires here, while it doesn't seem like it's meaning a whole lot, because here we are, lap 28, we're laying 1:17s down. It's the fastest pace of the race so far. But fresh tires, that initial 3-4 laps on those tires with a full fuel load, is going to be your opportunity to maybe gain a little bit. It's now Agon, now back to 0.4 of a second with Chen. He's worked it way down to 7. I mean, that's 7 seconds. It's still a pit lane.
Something happened to him there. He is missing the front end of that car. I wonder if he had a little bit of a problem. Not entirely sure. Oh, did he get caught out on pit lane exit? I think he did. Oh,
what a hit.
What a hit indeed. We ride on board with the 59 machine as you see him coming down. I think he just spun the tires here, getting up to speed, shifting into gear. Yep, that's exactly what it was.
The moment he went to shift, that sounded to me like he was going into 4th right there. And the moment he hit 4th gear, the rear tires did not like that. You just hear him go boom, and that's it. The back tires get to spin, and one side wants to spin faster than the other and sent him. I mean, that wasn't even controllable. That was just a quick snap to the wall.
No, it wasn't, and that's one of the things that we talk about quite a lot in these old school classic Indy cars is the fact that the tire spin is very, very real. There's a lot of torque being generated out of these rear tires, and you can really spin them up if you're not careful. When we do the restarts on ovals, it's always a big, big talking point, often starting these cars in 2nd gear to try to avoid that wheel spin as much as possible, but can even come back to bite you here on the road course. But back onto this battle for the lead. Agon has been able to close this back up. It's down under about 0.3 of a second. Chin setting the fastest lap of the race last time, but Agon setting a personal best of a 17.79.
The pace continuously gets faster, and Chen, while he does have a virtual mountain to climb, no pun on the mountains of this track and the massive elevation changes you watch him go uphill here. He has a lot he has to overcome. He's going to need another full course caution, I believe, to make 7 seconds up, or he's going to need a very big issue for Dance and Agon to overcome the hurdle that he has to overcome. I'm surprised, DJ, that it's lap 30 and drivers have yet to come down pit lane. I kind of agreed with you a whole lot more. Oh, Chin's down. Chin's on pit lane. First domino drops, flipping it. But the leaders, maybe they're going to come down lap 32, 35-ish?
Well, they may do. Jan Dirks also going to be joining down pit lane, as is Julian Altena. All of them coming down. There is Chin getting some more new fresh Firestones and a full tank of fuel. He'll be out and on his way here in a short moment. There he goes, ready and back out to go racing. Let's see if he's able to avoid those same pitfalls on the corner exit here. Chin, one of the most experienced drivers in this field. He looks like he's going to be able to come out of there. No problems at all. He will rejoin in 5th place.
Absolutely, and in a place like this, you don't have very much opportunity to lose a ton of positions to come down pit lane. Granted, he's going to get it back when Bennett and LaVille both come down. He had a very substantial margin against those two drivers. So the moment the 3rd and 4th come down, Chen will reassert himself as the podium driver. And I don't know if we respond to the chat in here, but Gearhead50 says Indy cars at Interlagos, dream achieved indeed. And there goes the leaders, Dance and Agon, both on pit lane.
All right, so both of them wanting to come down there, maybe not wanting to lose the draft. There is the choice for Agon. So now it's going to be a battle of the virtual pit crews to see who's going to be able to do that. They pull in on lap 32, so just under the halfway point. Probably not going to be able to do this on a one-stop, but they are able to stretch this a lot longer than we thought. Both drivers there just waiting for those last drops of fuel to be put into the car. Dance on his way, Agon on his way. Looks like a little bit slower there for Agon. I think that was cone-to-cone slower for Agon, indeed. About 0.8 of a second. Oh, Dance spins it! Dance spins it coming off a pit lane!
Oh, you remember what I said. Look at the gap from Chen. It is 2.7 to separate him and the leader, and it's less than a second between Dance and Chen. So Chen coming down a lap sooner than them. As you take a look here at what the 88 did, will spin again as he comes through, tries to sweep it down, and there it is. Back in, wants to kick around. Very minor damage. Didn't get a whole lot, but Agon might have caught the wall too. That's something we should look at.
May indeed, but it looks like some relatively heavy damage to the rear end of that 88. That could definitely hurt him in a straight line. Let's ride on board with Ethan Agon as he is able to work his way around that incident. I'm not sure if that was wheel spin or if that was a touch of the grass there for Cameron Dance. Oh. Whoo-wee. All right, so let's reset you up here right now. Ethan Agon leads this race by 2 seconds over Cameron Dance, who does have a little bit of rear wing damage. Joshua Chin coming on like a train with a full head of steam here now is going to try to make that move. There you can see the rear wing damage on the back of Cameron Dance. Dance tries to go defensive, but Chin says no way, and he is able to move up into P2. The Team Chimera driver already on the charge. He's got 2 seconds to try to make up to Ethan Agon now.
Yeah, and you also have to think that Agon had to back it down just a tad bit to avoid Dance from getting him collected in his mess. And that rear wing damage for Cameron Dance is like a parachute on the back of this car. It's putting a whole lot more air to collect into like a bucket of water back there because it's pointed in. I mean, you see it. It's folded down, crushed in on each side. It's like a winged sprint car. You don't want that thing to be damaged because it affects your corner speed. It's going to affect your straight speed. When you go to turn a little bit, the back end wants to move more. The wake, and if you have any wind whatsoever here, as it's going to the southeast at 5 miles an hour now, and it's breezing all the way up. I've seen a gust of 10 miles an hour on this track. That really could affect him whenever he gets in a heavy braking zone.
Yeah, it certainly could, as Chin here going to try to pull away a little bit more to see what he can do and get going as they get it. The gap coming out to about 0.7 of a second right now as he tries to chase down on Ethan Agon. That gap up to him about 1.9, so he has been able to close down even with the pass on that last lap. Chin able to run about 1/10 of a second faster than anyone else. So it looks like Chin is definitely trying to close in for the lead.
Yeah, Chin's making a great time. Like I said, we talked about before pit stops happening, that initial lap when you come off a pit lane, especially on newer tires with a full load of fuel, you have to be perfect. Chin was perfect. He came out, he hit every corner, he was diving it in the corner, heavy braking zones, he was really rolling them better than what everybody else was. And for Agon and Dance to have the issue they had, it allowed Chin to make it 1.4 seconds in Sector 2 once again. And a problem for Agon when he was behind Dance, a problem now when Chin's behind him, because that was one of the slowest sectors I've seen him run since we started this race.
Yeah, indeed, and this battle is going to heat up, but we do want to remind you of some of the things that we have here for the Classic IndyCar Series, namely the fact that the Classic IndyCar Series now has its own Patreon page. And so head on over to that Patreon, get your name listed there on your screen, and you can be one of the donors, the gold or the platinum members. Keep this league going. It is an absolutely wonderful way to be able to support a fantastic series of racing. The platinum featured driver for the day is Stefan Schlacker, and unfortunately we didn't really get a chance to mention that, as unfortunately he was taken out a little bit early. We also want to thank the secondary sponsor for this series, Extreme Scoring. They are the new scoring partner for the series. Check them out at extremescoring.info. And head on over. What you are able to do is you're able to buy a ticket with them by sending $5 via the PayPal Friends app to classicindycarseries@gmail.com. At the end of the series, there will be a blind drawing where the winning ticket will receive a 12-race season package of Extreme Scoring for free. That is a net worth of about $60. And so definitely check that out and get that in there. And like we said, send that email over to classicindycarseries@gmail.com. And actually, speaking of that featured platinum driver, we are joined here in the booth by Stefan Schlacker. Stefan, obviously not exactly the race that you wanted to have out there, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's probably one of the worst races I've ever had, if I'm quite honest here. Had a great start, had a good qualifying, had a great start. Jumped 2 rows up to, I think, 3rd into turn 1, and then out of turn 1, Marshall Stanley decided that it's now a good idea for me to do a kickflip, which didn't really do good to my wings, and I didn't realize I had that damage, so I stayed out and then quickly realized that I'm now a sitting duck on the front stretch.
Yeah, I mean, just how bad was that? I mean, it looked like you were losing quite a few miles an hour, and I mean, talk to me. Was it just the straight line speed? Were you not having any handling damage at all?
No, that was the strange thing. I had no wheel damage whatsoever. That's why I didn't know about my wing damage, because I had nobody around me who could say that, hey, Stefan, you have quite some real wing damage. I only realized that once the green flag came out again. I mean, even the restart was great for me. I jumped 2 positions once again there. But yeah, quickly after Cover Sol, I realized that I was quite slow indeed, and yeah, I went then into the pit lane to fix my damage, but I only fixed the front wing damage because I thought my rear wing damage isn't that bad. I quickly regretted that as well, because that completely screwed over my balance, my aero balance, and yeah, I then spun turn 3 to the inside and then hit the outside wall as well. And I just decided it's not worth it to continue to drive. I mean, I'm only gonna finish like inside the top 20 anyways. I didn't have to speed after all that damage, so it was better to park it and let Cam Dance race it out, hopefully for the win here.
Indeed. Well, Cam having a little bit of a problem there on pit lane exit as well. I mean, this is obviously proven to be a very tricky circuit for a lot of these drivers, but how do you think, we talked a little bit earlier to Robert, but how do you think this is going to change? Oh, we've got to go live because we have got to go to the lead of the race. Joshua Chin making a move down to the outside. Is he going to be rebuffed there by Ethan Agon? Yes, he is, but this battle is certainly on for the lead. My goodness, Chin now trying to make the move around the outside there of the Seta S. It's going to be a straight drag race going down the Retro Posta. It's going to be a battle of the late breakers now going in. Ethan Agon has to back off, and Joshua Chin up into the lead of the race there. Sorry to cut you off like that, Steph, but that one just kind of snuck up on us. What I was going to ask you is how do you think with that safety car period, we talked to Robert about it a little bit earlier, how much do you think that's going to affect strategy? We saw these leaders be able to extend that pit stop out to about 30 laps. Is it possible to make this a one-stopper, or is it just going to be a big splash and dash there at the end?
Well, we predicted 30 laps on a normal fuel run anyway, so them only going those 30 laps was a little bit of a surprise, if I'm honest. Maybe they short-hit it, but my fuel calculator, if I wouldn't have had that damage, I most definitely would have only had to do that one pit stop until the end of the race, at least by my quick calculations. So it most definitely could have been, or could still be, just a one-stopper, but with everybody pitting on lap 30, especially the leaders, we're not gonna see them do that one-stopper in the end.
All right, well, looking on to some brighter pastures, Laguna Seca next. Do you fancy chances there? And if Laguna maybe not is your cup of tea, where else can he be looking to that'll be looking good?
Well, to be honest, I already knew that Interlagos is going to be a very, very difficult race for me anyway, so I wasn't really looking forward to it. I was super happy already with that 8th place in qualifying. Sadly, it didn't turn out the way it wanted to, which also means that I now have burned both of my tropics that we have here in the Classic Indycar Series, so Laguna Seca most definitely will be one of the more interesting races. I'm usually quite strong in there. It's the track that got me out of the rookie class, winning there, I think, 9 of the 10 races that I did at Laguna Seca. So I'm really looking forward. It's a great track for me. It has great flow as well. It's a historic place, obviously, also for this car. So I'm really, really looking forward after 2 very hard races to start the season on the roadside. And I mean, even Hopestead is a very hard race to begin with anyway. So much easier affair, hopefully, with the second this time around.
Well, we wish you the best of luck there, and we'll see you in about a month's time out on the track, Stephen.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a good one.
All right, well, we have to focus back in on the action on the track here because Henry Bennett and Lucas LaVille, that battle has started to really come to the fore here. This has been closing lap after lap after lap, Terry, and I think it's only a matter of time here before Lucas maybe sends a move on Henry Bennett.
Yeah, Bennett's been struggling here over the past couple laps, and LaVille's really been able to roll through these corners. He's carried a lot of straight line speed here, but to touch on the lead there, we were watching Chen for over 5 laps really make runs happen, and once again, sector 2. Going out into turn number 14 to go through that sweeping corner to go down the straightaway. It just wasn't a good one for Agon, and Chen was doing a great job there, just like what Bennett's doing. Bennett and LaVille are doing a great job. Once again, continuously working each sector like it's a very unique chance. In every single lap, they're having to attack the sectors different. As you see here, we take the shot at the track. It's starting to rubber in more, and it looks a whole lot more slicker than it did when we started this race.
Yeah, it certainly does, and temperature's actually seeming to cool a little bit out on track. It's down to about 91 degrees Fahrenheit right now, and so that is certainly changing things up a little bit, maybe adding a little bit more grip to the surface. You may be able to get a little bit more run on that line. As you said, offline, those marbles can definitely develop out here at Interlagos. That is one of the things with some of that banked corners that you were talking about earlier on, that those marbles really do gather offline. Looks here a little bit like LaVille lost a couple of tenths on that last lap, not really able to keep it as close right here, but definitely increasing the tension as it goes.
Yeah, and I continuously am just in awe of this racetrack. You know, I'm not necessarily, and I'm sure a lot of the fans who are watching, they don't know me. I talked about it first. I am a NASCAR oval guy, and to be able to come do this show at Interlagos and see how beautiful this track is, to study the history of this track, to see the way they made it, the architect layout that they had for this racing surface, just a mix of everything. It's kind of like when you think of Gateway, which we'll go to sooner, you know, one part of the track's filmed for Milwaukee, one part of the track's filmed for the other one, or filmed for Indy. You have 2 opposite tracks there to go. And here, each sector is different. Long straights like Indy. You go down to the corner, you have corners like Watkins Glen. You go down the back straightaway, you have one like Pocono. You go down into the S's, it's more like Sonoma. It's a ton of stuff to do, and you always have to be on your toes. But what a marvelous race, and what a spectacle to have these Indy cars here. If Indycar is listening, hey, maybe you should head up to Brazil.
There is history of IndyCar Brazil. They did race it, I believe, Rio de Janeiro on a street circuit, although the city is escaping me at the moment, for several years. But that was a little bit of a strange race. Obviously, the severe bumps and the changing track surface going through turn 1. The very famous time that they ran there and tried to sand everything down to try to get it all down, and it kicked up such a spray it looked like they were driving in the rain. But I know I certainly wouldn't be opposed to seeing a couple of Indy cars turn some laps here at Interlagos in the future. But that is just the wish list of a die-hard IndyCar fan speaking. Continue to watch this battle between Bennett and LaVille. Little bit better bunker braking there, going through that first sequence of corners down through the Senna S, and that is certainly Henry Bennett that knows it. He's going defensive, going down the retro posta, coming back to the racing line now as they work their way through the Disco del Lago. A little bit of a cleaner line there for Lucas LaVille, but it looks like better off of the corner was Henry Bennett. Yeah,
Bennett's doing an excellent job in playing defense, but also still continuously racing the track. Yeah, you talked about the track temps are going down. It was 94, 95 degrees at a point. It's 91 now. So they continuously do some heat. You have the dynamic track surface where you're starting to see more of the marbles up on the outside of this racing surface. You see LaVille working, getting on the rumble strips there, trying to set the pass up. we're coming through at this moment in the most crucial point of the race because we potentially have one more pit stop to go if they do want to take it. For LaVille, he's going to get this run here going into 1, but he's not going to be able to make it because you saw what Bennett was able to do was to break the draft there, but coming down into these very fast, sweeping corners, he's going to have to make a run and try not to be overly aggressive doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And this comes a little bit into that weaving conversation, as it were, that we sometimes talk about, whether it is faster to weave or not to weave to be able to break that draft behind. But right now it does seem to be working well for Henry Bennett. And I thought it was interesting there what Stefan was saying about the fuel cycle and about the fuel strategy. Now, we were anticipating that 22, 23, 24-ish lap window opening up if drivers were committing to a 2-stop early, breaking the race up there, running the entire race on lighter fuel loads, and never really filling up the car to its maximum. It appears that a lot of the drivers didn't go for that strategy, just opted to fill the car up to maximum, making it to that 30 laps. So it looks like there that with that little bit of fuel saving they were able to do, trying to maybe just push a little bit, minimize as much as possible, and take some faster stops potentially.
Yeah, and lap 45 on the board, Chen's gone. This race has kind of went into what normal road races typically go into, where you have a very lull-ish time to where you're just able to relax as broadcasters. I mean, this is normally when we put our feet up and we talk about ice cream or whatever, but DeVille and Bennett, LaVille and Bennett, they don't want to do that for us. They're continuously battling. They're under 3/10 of one another, really putting on a show here, and they're doing what Dance and Agon did for us. But Dance has fell off big time. That wing damage is starting to put him in the clutches here of Bennett and LaVille. If they can throw some more hot laps together, get some more momentum behind them, they're only 7 seconds back. There is a real opportunity that you could see them work up here and get to that position to go overtake for the podium finish.
Yeah, they very well could. Bennett was running a 1:18.7 the last time, or Dance was running a 1:18.7 rather the last time out, and Bennett able to put down a 1:18.5. So definitely having the ability to try to close in there a little bit if they can. As we continue to focus on this battle, looks like LaVille losing a little bit of speed off of the junction. Didn't quite get the run that he wanted to. I wonder here if Henry Bennett maybe just a little bit more trimmed out in that car, opting to take a little bit more aero out of it, maybe run a little bit faster in the straights. LaVille able to close down a little bit through the twisty bits on the circuit. That could explain some of it again. There's Bennett going to try to break that draft. It's now becoming a little bit predictable, and LaVille able to close in on that. That was Jan Dirks, by the way, that you saw in the back of the screen. He is a little bit ways behind them. There is Dirks on your screen in 6th place. He's 3 seconds back. So if Bennett and LaVille really break themselves out into a mega squabble, that could mean that Dirks is able to come up in that Apex Tech Racing machine and try to challenge a little bit.
Yeah, the way I'm seeing here, it does have a little bit of wing damage on the 45 for Dirks, but not a whole lot to really affect the car. It just looks like it's bowed right in the center. Still going to keep the same speed down the straights in there. As you see, Shoemake, he's on pit lane right now from the 9th place position. Good opportunity there. It looks to me that he's about to get overtaken for a lap here. The leaders have went around. It should be, 1 lap down here as comes off of pit lane. There was a lot of smoke right there going into 1.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly who that was. That may have been Cameron Dance that had that happen to him as he locked up massively going down into turn 1. But there's Shoemake down. He will officially be down a lap, but that should be his pit cycle done and dusted. He should be done now and able to make it to the end of the race. So that pit window is open. Drivers should be able to come in and make it down. With cooling tire temperatures, I maybe wouldn't be surprised if we saw a driver or two take a gamble here, try to go for a little bit of an undercut, come back out again on some fresh Firestones and try to see if they're able to go to the end. They won't have to really try to. Only about 20 laps and change left to go.
a gust of wind just hit this racetrack. It was up to 8 miles an hour. The wind has also shifted. It was from the southeast. Now it's from the south. So coming driver's rear going down the straights here, especially going down into one, they really have an opportunity to carry more speed. So you saw right there, Joshua Chen throws down a 117.8. They're starting to get a lot more wind behind them. It's starting to push the wing. So when they get down into one, they're going to have to worry about not locking up the rear tires, because you're going to carry a lot more speed than what you were carrying about 5 or 6 laps ago, especially when the wind pushes that hard. It's back up to 8 miles an hour now of the south. So it just ever so changing track conditions. It's also lowering the track temp. It's down to 90 degrees, where in about 10 laps ago, it was 91. That 1 degree can make all the difference on what you do on the car. As Chen had an issue, a gun.
Indeed, that is a gun up to the lead. I'm not sure what happened to Joshua Chin. I don't see any damage on the front of that Team Chimera machine, but I think he just had a little bit of an off. Maybe the tire wear coming into play. We'll have to back up the replay to see what it is. But Ethan Agon back up into the lead of this race while we weren't looking. Here is the replay. Yeah, here it is. Coming out of the Curva del Sol. Everything looks good for Josh here. To bring the car down. Does he touch the grass a little bit on entry? No. Gets in. Oh, he touched the ground. Oh, that is big contact, and Shin is down pit lane. A little bit of damage there to the front wing, you can see. I hope there's no suspension damage to that number 93. He is up on the jacks right now. Let's take another look at this replay. He just got that car a little bit wide, may have bottomed out over the curbing, goes sideways, and a hard hit into the wall. I hope that suspension is okay.
And we were just talking about the weather conditions changing. I know people are going to go, oh man, no, you're crazy. That could have been a product there, getting back on the throttle, wanting to carry some more speed. These cars are aerodynamic sensitive. The moment something changes what this car has felt, it really affects it. When you go from a gust of wind from 3 miles an hour to 10 miles an hour, that's a very big difference. It's shifting a whole lot. It'll go southeast for a second, and it'll be 2 miles an hour. Then it goes from the south. And the moment it starts giving you that speed from the front or the rear of the car, depending on the part of the course that you're on, it's going to make a difference. It's going to make the front have to drive harder. You're going to have to carry. You're going to carry more speed. The rear's going to have to drive harder. You're going to be turning more RPMs. You're going to be doing a whole lot more than what you were doing before. But what a huge break for Cameron Dance. He's back up to second, still not carrying the speed he was. But hey, guess what? He just ran a 1:18.5. He's 13 seconds back, but he's back up to P2 when I really thought he was going to slide all the way back down to at least 4th.
I thought he was as well, and another little interesting development starting to play out in that battle for what is now P3 between Bennett and LaVille. They're coming on some lap traffic. That was Franz Joseph Stum that they were able to get by nice and easy. Randy Shoemake, remember, he has made his pit stop already. That is going to be the next lap car that they come up around, so they're going to have to try to negotiate their way around him as well, and this is not the area of the track where you want to do it. You do not want to catch lap cars through the infield. This could be a death knell here for Henry Bennett, could really slow him down.
Absolutely, and you see a slower car in front, got loose, almost looped it, did not, holds to the outside, very respectful here on this surface. In Indycar, this league has, I believe this league has stewards just as well as what the Indycar and the F1 series runs, so you don't want to be disrespectful in the code of conduct that be in these cars, and that is a crucial spot to catch a lap car because, well, you gotta have speed to carry off the corner. Lap car moves out of the way, Shoemake's gonna move, they're gonna go down here. This is an opportunity for LaVille as he's gonna get a huge run down the straights going into one.
And they're going to think about it there. That is going to be LaVille maybe trying to go for a little bit of a crossover move going down into the Senna S. And it doesn't look like it's going to play out. They're going to stay in the same order that they went into the corner. Henry Bennett going to hold on by about 0.2 of a second. You can see in the background there, Joshua Chin also starting to close in on the back of Jan Dirks after his pit stop. So he's going to be one to keep an eye on as this battle now for P3 subsides. Once again, everyone's staying where they are. Nobody moving around quite yet, but with just over 20 laps to go, rest assured that this battle is going to stay electric, and we have got fire coming till the end of the race. All of these drivers, with the exception of Chin, still have to make a pit stop. Remember, Chin is the highest driver to have made a stop.
Yeah, and Chen's putting down some blistering laps, 118.2, so no suspension damage so far. You still see a little bit of wing damage on the front, right in front of the tire. When he goes to turn to the left or the right, you'll see it here. It's just a little bit of a crank in, but he's also behind these two drivers here. So he's going to have to get around the 45. He's going to have to get around Shoemake. The 45's continuously holding there. That's Jan Dirks. He's going to get around there, and he's going to do that with ease as they go into one. The first left-hander of this circuit. That Apex machine of 45 doing a great job as well. Still continuously riding in the top 10. But Chen, this is his opportunity. He has to continuously put down these laps if he's going to want to go back up there and challenge Agon and dance for the race win.
Yeah, indeed, he is very quickly dispatching Dirks there, and now he's got about 2 seconds up the road to the battle that we have been following through a large portion of the race with LaVille and Bennett. There it is right there. Gotta start thinking that these drivers are going to be thinking about pit lane here. Once again, the fuel window is open, and a multitude of strategy being able to play out. Chen already starting to close in a little bit more, 2.1 seconds the gap as they come down, working their way through the corners. It just doesn't look like Lucas LaVille really has enough to be able to get that pass done, to be able to get the move done, but he is certainly trying to put as much pressure to Henry Bennett as humanly possible.
Yeah, I don't think he's not carrying a whole lot of speed off of 14, and that's been the trouble spot so far for a lot of these drivers when they come through the second sector going into the third. You have to continuously carry the momentum through there. This is a very momentous racetrack where if you slip up, you bobble into turn 3. It takes you 3 or 4 corners to get that momentum back. You see Jan Dirks is continuously putting the pressure on Joshua Chen. Chen hasn't been able to get away from Dirks. He's just been right there nipping on the heels. They've only been 0.2 of a second slower than one another. So once again, Chen might have some problems. He was able to work it in the draft, but straight speed by himself seems like it's pushing a little bit here.
Yeah, it does. Maybe a little bit of damage that we weren't really able to see there for Joshua Chen off of that incident that he had coming down through the Descida do Lago could be affecting that Team Chimera driver. He has been able to pull the gap down to under 2 seconds to Lucas LaVille, but he has got to be pushing here to try to get that to close back in. Does not want to lose time again to Agon or Cameron Dance up ahead of him. Agon currently has the gap at about, it looks like 26 seconds, and that has grown a little bit since Chin came down pit lane, so that's exactly what Agon needs to do here in the number 20.
Yeah, Agon, I mean, just growing this lead ever so slightly, and we really thought that from the initial jump that when Agon did take the race lead, right, we thought for sure that he was going to be gone. Had the slip up, Chen goes around, dips on him, is about 3 seconds away, and then Chen has an issue. And the moment Chen had an issue, Agon had to capitalize, and he had to make it perfect. He had to continuously go out there, put great laps down. He just ran a 1:17.75, fastest lap of his race, but it's still 0.2 off of what Cameron Dance put down early on in this event, where he was putting down the 1:17.52. So for Agon, this race is his. If he doesn't make a mistake, I don't think there's any way that you could see a guy like Chen come up there. He's 26 seconds back. You're not going to make that up on pit lane, whether or not Agon does anything crazy or not.
Exactly. I will say the cone-to-cone time looking like it is just under 30 seconds, so it could be a little bit tight there between Chin and Agon, but we will have to see how that all shakes out in the wash as they come around. And there it looks like Chin finally able to build a little bit more of a gap over Jan Dirks. That gap extending up to about 0.6 of a second for Joshua Chin as he continues to charge his way back up through the field. 17 laps to go here at Interlagos. We are still waiting for pit stops for most of our field. The only two drivers that have come down to make their final stop, Joshua Chin and Randy Shoemake. Everyone else still more than likely needs to come down and get that last little splash of fuel. My guess here at this point, Terry, is they are just going to wait until the last possible minute to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no sense in coming down now. You'll put it. I would rather have tires at the end of the race than have them right now to burn them up, to set yourself up for a potential mistake. You know what the car's doing now. You know the pace that you can run. Agon's put another second on Dance. Dance is losing time to Bennett. Bennett's been very good throughout the inner portion of this race. These corners are not being as problematic as we thought that they would be coming into this event, but the exits have been the most problematic parts of this race, because every time guys want to get back on the gas, the rear end wants to chatter. It wants to buck loose on them. This track is like bull riding, man. You step one inch out to the right or to the left on that bull, and it's going to buck you off. And this track is really bucking people today.
Yeah, indeed it is. It has definitely thrown some drivers for a loop here, and some of the best. Obviously, if you're just now joining us and are wondering why we've got such a diminished field, well, a big kerfluffle at the opening corner, sending multiple drivers off, including Robert Grosser, Stefan Schlacker, Sebastian Kender, Logan Simmons, Jamie Wilson, Jonathan Diggs. A lot of drivers being involved in that incident. And getting taken out by it. We have had a couple of other retirements, Jack Stiles and Andrew Aitken coming in later than that. Only 11 cars running right now out of our initial 22 starters on the day. Right now, we watch Joshua Chin as he continues to try to come back through the field, having taken an earlier pit stop, courtesy of some damage coming through the retro post, or coming down through the Descida do Lago, rather, just the car stepping away from him. Now, the gap between himself and the leader, who he is effectively battling here, Ethan Agon, that has stayed solid at about 26, 27 seconds, so it doesn't look like Chin is losing that much time to him here at this point, but he definitely would love to see all of these other drivers around him peel off down pit lane and get a sense of where he'll be running at the end of the race.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is we've seen Dance have an issue coming off the pit lane. We've seen Wood, we've seen Styles have issues coming off the pit lane as well. And drivers come down right now, and they're not used to what new tires are going to feel like, obviously, because they've been on these tires for so long. I mean, their last time on pit lane was 31, other than Chen coming down on 48. So the drivers are very acquainted to what they're doing. You see now, Agon's putting down 117.8. He's lighting the fuel tank. So we saw it before. They would run 5 more laps whenever they started getting lighter on the rear ends, and now here we go. Agon's running those laps again. So I expect to see him come down maybe with about 11 to go. Put him on pit lane for his final attempt here. This is going to be a nail biter if he can get off of pit lane perfect, because if he can, Chin's going to be nipping at his heels, but will fresher tires prevail for Agon.
Well, but you said it right there. Coming off a pit lane has proved a little bit of a problem today. I mean, Cameron Dance was in control of this field for the longest time, and here we've got some pitters. Lucas Laville coming down pit lane for that Vortex Sim Racing machine. That is going to be the first one of these to fire off as drivers start to make their way down, hits his marks nice and easy, gets those new Firestones put on the car as he goes up onto the air jacks, and so that's going to release some pressure off of Henry Bennett. Laville looks like he'll be able to come back nice and easy into 6th place.
Yeah, he'll slide in here, but can he get off of pit lane correctly? We've seen drivers have issues. He's going to be perfect off of the pit lane, going down into 6th. That's not a hard spot to fall, because obviously Dirks, Bennett, Cameron's going to have to pit. Those drivers are going to come down. Should put Laville right back in the mix. And if there's any indication of what we saw with Chin in the first stint, the first stop of the race, he was able to gain over 5 seconds on the race lead. Granted, they had an issue, but there's still an opportunity right here for LaVille to come up there and maybe get a podium out of this event rather than finish in 4th or 5th.
Yeah, there certainly is, and there's plenty of time still to play. 13 laps to go here as they work their way through, waiting to see who the next driver to peel off down pit lane will be. As they come down here, we focus on your leader, Ethan Agon, in that number 20 machine, working his way through the corners. Little bit of a lockup, and that's a little bit of the sign that we've seen across the course of this race, that the tires are starting to scream out a little bit longer on into the stops. You see those lockups come as the tires just lose a little bit of grip, little bit of a twitch there coming out of the last couple of corners in the infield before he works his way to the junction.
He's taken a lot out of these tires here so far. As you see the 31 come down, Julian Altina is down. We haven't talked about the 31 very much or at all this afternoon. Kind of was a little short in the box, and now on pit lane they go. Here comes the leader. This is the first big domino to come down. Now we have to keep an eye on the 93 of Chen. What's he gonna do? Because Ethan's got to go all the way to the end of pit lane here.
He does indeed, and Chin is now coming up through the Decidos' boxes as he works his way out on the track, getting service. There is your leader, waiting to see where Agon will come out. Agon is rolling. He is off of pit lane. He is through the Senna S. He is going to have this handily. Ethan Agon will keep on to what we anticipate to be the lead of the race when everything is said and done. Josh Chin just now crossing into the background of your shot.
Oh my goodness, that was an impressive pit entrance, pit stop, pit exit. Continuously kept the margin at his now 5 seconds. I mean, that is 5-second lead and growing for Cameron Dance. He's out on the racetrack still. Obviously, we're anticipating him coming down pit lane, even with wing damage. You know, even with the damage to the rear end to that wing, he's still able to put down consistent lap times. He's putting down 1:18.4s. Wasn't the pace he's putting. He's a full second off of what he was with a perfect race car. But wow, what a marvelous run for the 20th. He cleared Bennett. Bennett still hasn't came down, and he's still held on to second.
Indeed he has, but Cameron Dance is going to come down now, and now looking to see as there is a move, and Henry Bennett will come down. So it looks like pretty much all of your leaders here opting to come down and make their final round of pit stops. Is it at the front of the field? It will be Ethan Agon and Joshua Chin leading the way. Right now, that gap is officially 5.5 seconds. Waiting to see where Cameron Dance will come out. There you see him coming out in the 88 machine. He's going to come on out. He'll have a nice little healthy advantage over Henry Bennett. Now, let's keep an eye on Bennett and LaVille. Remember, those two were duking it out for the majority of the race. This is going to be very close between the two. I think it's going to be advantage Henry Bennett, and indeed it is. But Lucas LaVille already up to speed. Bennett having to speed up a little bit. Is LaVille going to be able to get anything? Tries to pull a little bit of the draft. Not able to do it, and Henry Bennett will maintain that position.
The only thing that helped Henry Bennett right there is you had the right-hander that was able to get him onto the track and keep it. But you see LaVille, he was trying to set up an inside look, an outside look, couldn't do it. Bennett was playing defense there, but really didn't have to. Granted, he wasn't up to speed, but in the slow sectors of this race, you don't have to carry as much. What a battle for fourth in the lead. Chen is starting to close in. It's 5.3 seconds. Now it's almost working to 5 even. This could be a race before we're over with 10 to go.
Yeah, it could indeed. On that last lap, Chin was about 0.2 of a second faster. So definitely starting to close in a little bit more as they go. We continue to ride on board with Lucas LaVille here, though, as he is the one who is trying to close in on Henry Bennett, tucking up behind in the slipstream. Both of these cars having a fresh set of boots on them. Oh, here it comes. It is all gloves off. This is going to be LaVille to the outside, going down into the Senna S. Is he going to be able to carry the braking zone out? No, Bennett feeds him out just a little bit, but he's going to get another bite at the apple as they go down the Retro Posta here.
Yeah, that was a great opportunity to overtake, but the outside hasn't worked into one all race long. Coming into 14, it might have, but there it will not. Looks to the outside again, goes wheel to wheel as they go. They're going to set themselves up for another sweeping left-hander. It's not going to work. Here we are to right-hander. We're going to go to a left-hander here, and it should be advantage to LaVille, and he clears going down here into the corner. Can Bennett make another overtake attempt as they come down here through another slow portion of this track?
Doesn't look like Bennett's going to have any attack here, but he's got to just focus a couple of corners up the road and really focus in on the junction. 9 laps to go here at Brazil as there is not much time left to do it. Bennett already getting that gap up to about 0.5 of a second. LaVille finally let loose, but looks like LaVille able to get a very good run out of the junction. I think that's going to leave Henry Bennett a little bit in the dust. The gap already growing to about 0.6 of a second.
LaVille has been perfect in the junction all race long, and what a run off of 14. They'll go into the 15 portion right here as they come through that corner. They go into 1. It's just been absolutely perfect. What a set going through the inner portion of the track, the infield section there into sector 2. Just an incredible ride for the one machine of LaVille. Was able to really be on his toes, to have great braking points, the shift back into third gear, just all the way around. That was a perfect place to set up. Now, can they catch Cameron Dance, who still has a ton of damage? They're 9 seconds away. This is LaVille's best opportunity with 9 laps to go.
Yeah, indeed. I'm not sure how close they're going to be able to get in on Cameron Dance, but I'll tell you what, Henry Bennett's not going to let this go until the final drop of the checkered flag, which will be in 8 laps' time. By the way, Joshua Chin up front took another 0.3 of a second out of the advantage to Ethan Agon. Now, the question's going to be, is Chin going to have enough laps to be able to close that in, or is Agon going to be able to hold this out to the end? That is the real question for the lead of this race.
I'm not going to jinx some DJ, but we've seen with Agon, he's had issues going into Sector 3. That has been the sector all race long that has been the biggest disadvantage, and for Joshua Chin, it has been the biggest strength. I've watched sector by sector for the past 5 laps, and Joshua Chin is absolutely picking them up, putting them down. It's 4.6 seconds. He begins to shred it some more. By the time we come to lap to put 7 to go on the board, it'll be under 4 seconds. You can mark my word on that.
All right, we'll have to see as the Team Chimera driver works his way out of the junction right now, trying to close in. That gap certainly coming down a little bit more. He was able to take 0.2 of a second out of him on the first sector alone. Let's see what Chin is able to do if he's able to keep that pace down. I think it's just a matter, though, of how many laps are going to be left. 7 to go as Agon crosses over the line. Chin, it's going to be down to about 4.4 seconds with Chin, like clockwork, taking another 0.3 out.
He's on a mission. He's on a mission. He made a mistake. He made 2 mistakes in this race that almost took him out of the opportunity to finish podium, at least to finish podium. But the last mistake took him out of an opportunity to win this race, and he still finds himself in P2. On the silver stage, he wants the gold. Chin still chopping at the bit. 3/10 the last time. He's losing a little bit through sector 1 as he goes down here. He has an opportunity back to go through the junction. Great opportunity. Goes down to 4.6 seconds. This race is going to be too close to call.
It's going to be very, very tight as Chin just continues to put in the good laps here. As you said, he did lose a little bit of time through Sector 1, and that has been one of the areas where Joshua Chin has been the best. They come out of the junction right now. This is going to be 6 laps to go at the line for Ethan Agon as they work their way up and over the corner, waiting to see what the timing and scoring will say at the line. Chin trying to do the best that he can to keep everything nice and together. And on that last lap, Chin lost time. He lost about 1/10 and a half.
Yeah, he lost that one. He lost it in Sector 1 that time. That's where Agon has been just flawless. I mean, just absolutely flawless through Sector 1. He's starting to piece it together. And I think for Agon, he's had slight issues through the sweeping corners. He's been great in the heavy braking portions of this race, but when he gets through the long sweeping corner of 14 to go down into the slight kink for 15, it's just been absolutely abysmal for him. He's starting to piece that together. He's losing a little bit of time through the infield portion of this. Sector 2 starting to bite him just a tad bit. He gained it back on exit. He locks it up there. He's really pushing that 20 machine to its absolute limits here this afternoon.
Yes, indeed he is. Absolutely driving the wheels off that thing, trying to see what he can do as he makes his way out of the junction right now. 4.5 seconds the gap between himself and Joshua Chin. Chin has been taking time out on this lap, but in the second microsector, I will say that was a purple lap time for Ethan Egan. Joshua Chin responding with a purple sector 3, and he crosses over the line. That last lap for Egan was a 17.65. That is the personal best for the driver of the number 20. Joshua Chin comes in and sets down a lap that is a 10th faster, but with only 5 laps to go, I think Joshua Chin is running out of time.
Yeah, 10th is not going to win this race. He has to hope that Egan forces into a mistake. If Chen can go up there, maybe get in his head a little bit, take some of the time off. It's down to 4.3. He was able to gain in Sector 1. They're coming through Sector 2 now. As you look at the battle for 4th, LaVille, Bennett have been all over one another like peanut butter and jelly. They've been going, man, I'm hungry. Don't judge me. They're doing a great job here. They continuously get the draft down here on the short chute. But it's down to 0.4 of a second for the lead here as well.
Yes, it is 4 seconds for the lead, but 4/10 here back for that battle for 4th place. Henry Bennett, I would have thought he would have disappeared off into the distance, but he is not at all. Let Lucas LaVille streak away from him. So some very, very good racing up and down through the field here with only 5 laps to go. Egan looking like he's going to lose a little bit more time to Chin here on this lap, but it's not enough for it to be taken out. Here they come, coming down now through the final couple of corners there. There is your leader, Lucas LaVille, with 4 laps to go as Chin sets the fastest lap of the race, able to take a full half second out.
Oh, that about made me jump out of my seat when I saw a 17.3 at the board. Chin is going. It's under 4 seconds. It's 3.7 and losing time. I mean, it's just going lap traffic in the way of the leader here. Holy mess. I didn't predict that one, DJ. I said 17.9s. These boys are out here putting it out there.
And there you see that lap traffic. Julian Altena getting out of the way for both Joshua Chin and for Ethan Egan. Good sportsmanship there. We love to see that out of him as they come around. Gap now down to 3.5 seconds. Chin continues to close in. He has been chipping away on this lap.
Yeah, at that time, Sector 1 goes to Chen. Sector 2 was dang near even. Sector 3 so far is on advantage to Chen. He was able to gain a tenth of a second there. We'll see the times when they cross the board. It's now 3.2 seconds. With 3 laps to go, he's going to have to gain a second a lap. Egan crosses the line. He's going to punch in at their survey says, a 118.3.
118.3, taking 7.5 of a second out of it. Still 3 seconds and 3 laps. We haven't seen Chin be able to get a full second out, so it may be a little bit too late, too late, but Chin is doing everything that he can do at the end. I would not be surprised if that Team Chimera driver is absolutely drenched in sweat here at this point. The chase certainly on for the win.
Yeah, the race is on, like George Jones said, and here comes Chan on the backstretch, and Egan's waiting for the checkered, because this race is putting a lot of people in a heartburn situation, as Julian Altena has had an incident on the track about a lap and a half ago, but the battle for the lead is just where we're at. Here we go, Egan, he's putting more pressure on himself because he's picked it up. It's now 3.5 seconds again. The gap's growing. Ethan, he's working it.
He's certainly working it. It looks like he's been able to pull out a little bit here as he'll get the 2 to go from Barney the Flagman at this point on the lap. coming across the line. Let's see what this was for Agon. It was 118 flat for Agon on the last lap. Chin, a 17.8, so able to take 2.5 tenths out. That is not enough with 2 laps to go. Chin is closing down, but it is not enough to be able to close this gap down unless Atena makes Agon makes a little bit of a mistake. Check back here. Lucas Laville still continuing to hold on to Henry Bennett. These are the last 2 of the last drivers on the lead lap. Jan Dirks behind them in 6th. The last driver on the lead lap getting out of the way. There is some lap traffic to allow this battle to continue on.
These two have just been right up each other's wings. I mean, you haven't been able to separate these two all race long. For Laville, he got past Bennett, you know, on that pit stop stint, was able to really work the back of the car there to force each other into something. But 2 to go. I think we're kind of seeing it now where they've kind of evened out here. You just saw Bennett go up the track a little bit, trying to find more speed, work a little bit harder off the exit there, wash up the track, get more runoff time, more runoff speed. But for Laville, he's just got to be smooth and smart. He can make this happen and come away with a 4th place finish.
He can indeed, but it's only 1 more lap to go for Ethan Agon. 2.5 seconds the gap between himself and Joshua Chin. Chin able to take another 0.3 of a second out of it there, but it's looking a little bit too late here for that 93 Team Chimera driver. Agon takes it out of the Curva del Sol for one last time as he comes down the Retro Oposta. Everybody trying to work it here as hard as they can. Ethan Agon, this has been a little bit of a yo-yo race for him, but he has put in the good lap times when it matters. That battle on the back, Laville holds on 0.7 of a second over Henry Bennett as they take the white flag and go down through turn 1.
Everybody so far on the lead lap has taken the white flag, and look at your top 2. Actually, your top 3 have had up and down races. Dance was dominant. We thought for sure he was the Australian was the one to beat, but it comes out and it's the Americans. 1, 2, you have Agon. He had issues with Dance in pit lane, got caught up. Chen spun twice, rebounds. He's looking for 2nd. Here we come for the final time. We're going through sector 3 and about to go down into 15 for the final time for the checker.
Indeed, the number 20 of Ethan Agon coming out of those final corners past the Subidos boxes now. The number 20 crossing over the pit lane exit, and there's the checkered flag for Ethan Agon. The iconic motorsports driver will win here at Interlagos in the Classic Indycar Series presented by Buttkicker. Joshua Chin putting up a stout attack, but not able to close it in at the end. Behind them, Lucas Laville coming home in 4th place. Going to try to hold off Henry Bennett now for just a few more corners here. They bring those cars around past the pit lane entry as they come on in, and it will be Lucas Laville able to hold on over Henry Bennett.
This has been just a brilliant race from all of these drivers. You've seen a lot of mistakes happen so far, DJ, but they've been able to overcome those mistakes. You see Randy Shoemaker right here, didn't have the run that he wanted. 9th place when he crossed the line here for that Aero X machine. But what a great rebound. Had issues on the opening start. Here he is, top 10. Don't give up in these races because a road course you could slip off. You've gained a ton of spots. It was just this has been just great. I can't believe that my first race was this just iconic show, and they didn't disappoint me.
They did not disappoint at all, and they're a good show of sportsmanship between Chin and Agon as they work their way back around into the pit lane. Everybody bringing it back in, and I'm sure these drivers are just as exhausted as these commentators are, as Ethan Agon gonna burn it down on the pit straight here to have a little bit of fun, burning some donuts, and well-deserved donuts for the number 20.
Yeah, very well deserved. I mean, to overcome the issue that he had behind camera Dance on pit lane, to work his way past Chen there on that pit stop sequence, to just do everything possible to get this win. I'm more slap out, and I've got an F1 and a NASCAR race to watch after this.
Indeed, it's a good day of motorsports, but let's run you through the final finishing order here today. These results unofficial, but it was Ethan Agon able to take that victory over Joshua Chin by only 1.8 seconds. Cam Dance rounds out your podium with Lucas LaVille and Henry Bennett rounding out your top 5. Those were those drivers, those battles that we were following for the majority of the race. Jan Dirks able to come home in P6, followed by Julian Altena, the first driver a lap down. Hans Buttkicker was in P8, followed by the Aero X pairing of Randy Shoemake and Franz Joseph Stum. Behind them, Andrew Wood was 11th, 2 laps down, and then we get into the drivers that had those problems over the course of the race. Stiles and Aitken, obviously Schlacker, Simmons, Kinder, Stanley, Hoffman, Diggs, Grosser, all involved in that first lap incident that took so many of our drivers out, including Niolta and Diggs as well. There you go.
Wilson, Kevin Niolta, and Fredrickson, just not a race that they wanted early on.
No, not at all. Very much a disappointing start to the race and for them. But the fastest lap of the race being set by Joshua Chin on lap 67. No real surprise there. That was the massive charge down we saw coming from Josh as they came in. And I do believe that we are about ready to catch up here with our leader, or our winner rather, Ethan Agon, just waiting for him to pop up into the booth here to join us. Ethan, an absolutely fantastic run out there for you. A little bit of a yo-yo race back and forth. When did you think that a win was possible on the cars for you?
Basically, I hate to say this, but when Chin spun, nothing intentional, but no, the car was absolutely phenomenal, and I gotta thank everyone of Iconic and for getting a great car, and it's just been really fun this year so far, and just can't wait for the next race.
Well, we can't wait as either, but talk me through a little bit of your mindset on those closing laps. I mean, Chin was just absolutely barreling down on you. We saw that coming down. What were you doing to try to prevent any of that hemorrhaging and keep yourself in the lead?
Just been keeping doing what I have been doing the last 40 to 50 laps, it felt like. But I don't know what Chin did under that first pit stop, but that car was on a roll. But it was definitely going to be a good battle, but we both raced very clean, and it's just been a great day, and just a great car, a great team, and awesome day.
Well, awesome day indeed. You said you're looking forward to the next race. We obviously go to Laguna Seca, a little bit more traditional for these Indy cars. Do you think a repeat is on the cards?
Absolutely. I mean, every time when you win a race, you always want to know that you can win the second one. And Iconic's been very strong on the road courses this year. This is the second win in a row for this team. So some good momentum heading forward to the next race.
Well, some good momentum to carry forward. Ethan, congratulations again. That was a heck of a drive out there today.
Thank you so much.
Well, that was Ethan Agon, your victor here in the number 20 machine. And now, Terry, I believe you may have caught up with our third place finisher on the day, Mr. Cameron Dance.
Yeah, let's see if we get him here.
Started ging.
There we go. Cameron, man, it's Terry up here for Race Spot. What a drive for you here. We thought early in the race you were the guy to beat. You and Ethan Agon was just putting on a brilliant show for the fans and for us. We were in awe in just what you two were able to match lap times. But what happened there on pit lane that really took you out of the running here?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. Just the car let go on me for some unknown reason that I'm yet to kind of work out what actually caused it, whether it was just cold tires or whether it was just the way that the fact that the setup was so loose in some regard and the cold tires sort of added to that, or what happened. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, it kind of sucks to end up losing the win out of that. But hey, at the end of the day, we'll get a podium and we'll take that and tick that off the list after having two runs that really should have been a podium. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and we can't complain so far.
Well, you're at a track that obviously IndyCar doesn't mirror. So you're here. You go to a place next month that obviously a lot of IndyCar fans are very familiar with, and that's Laguna Seca. Can you walk out of one of the final road courses before we hit a string of ovals and maybe take that as a stepping stone to walk forward? Because you were clearly dominant here tonight. I mean, just absolutely marvelous run for you, and to even come home third with the damaged wing. Is next month an opportunity for you to put your foot down and say you're going to go through me on the rest of the road courses this season?
Yeah, well, hopefully that's the case. I mean, we're itching for a win, and realistically, we should have won today. But hey, look, we've got pace on the road courses. We've proved ourselves on both oval and road as well. That we've got some very, very good pace against quite a few experienced guys and some quick guys as well. So yeah, hopefully next month is going to be the one that we tick off with the win. But we'll see what happens at the end of the day.
One final question here, because this one is normally what I'll ask somebody when they come off of a race that they should have won. On the remainder of the schedule, and don't say all of them, be realistic. What track do you want to win the most at? Because you've got iconic places like Indy, Laguna Seca, you got the Worldwide Technology Center at Gateway. What track do you just want to circle and say, man, that's the one place I got to win at to be just to be perfect for you?
I'd probably say either Bell Hole or Phillip Island, to be honest. Both tracks I really, really love, and obviously I go very, very well around there, especially Phillip Island, having done numerous laps around there as a New Zealand driver. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to those two races. To be honest, it's probably going to be my strongest two races with the way that things are. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Obviously, it's still a long way to go till we get to Indy, and obviously there's a lot of championship points on the line, and we just got to keep getting consistent results at the end of the day if we want to be in that spot.
Well, Cameron Dance, congratulations on your P3 finish, and we'll see you in a month at Laguna Seca. Just have a great one, man.
Yeah, cheers, guys, and hopefully we'll see you next month.
Well, DJ, that's third place right there, and I'm pretty sure we got the second fastest American in the field here coming up.
I do believe indeed that we have Mr. Josh Chin ready to join us here in the booth. Josh, I got to start at the end, my friend. Talk me through those final laps where you were just absolutely putting in some blistering times trying to chase down Ethan.
Yeah, I was just kind of going for it and trying to see what happened. I was not expecting to be in a position to win. I thought, third place was probably going to be the best I got out of it. And then Sam had the pit road incident ahead of Ethan and kind of closed me back up. And I went, all right, I got a shot. I was already on a kind of short fill, breaking the race up into two stints from there just to run on lower fuel as long as I could. And I mean, it was going. The car had some weird issues with balance early on, and finally fixed it at the last stop when I was fixing the wing damage. So it was just trying to catch up. I didn't realize that Ethan was going to not take tires there. If I had known that, I probably wouldn't have gone as hard at it during the middle stint. But I had to do something to try and build that gap as much as I could because I knew he was going to have a short stop on fuel either way.
So was the plan always to take a little bit of that shorter stop there, or obviously that little bit of a blip coming out into the Retro Aposta, or in the Descida del Lago rather, did that really kind of inspire having to take that stop?
Well, once we got to the first pit stop and the gaps kind of opened up the way they did, I saw that I had enough space with Henry to kind of do something different. And if it didn't work on the last stint, I still had enough time to fall back to. So I kind of planned it from pretty early on to do that and just run on low fuel as long as I could. It seemed like I never really had the pace in the qualifying setup, but the race setup just started going. And I don't know why it worked as well as it did. I don't know if I just didn't have enough laps in the qualifying set to get more out of it, because I think with more time and preparation, it might have been starting from pole instead of starting from fourth, and that probably was all the difference in the world, especially with controlling the start and the restart. First gear wasn't geared up very well for it. It was a really long first gear, so reacting on green really didn't help me at all. Put me back a few spots at the start, and kind of led to that incident I had with Stefan.
Well, indeed, and I mean, it's still a second place on a race that you weren't exactly sure on. It's got to feel good as a result. But looking ahead, we head to Laguna, normal stomping grounds for these Indy cars. Do you like your chances there? How do you think everything's going to go once we get to that tricky circuit?
Yeah, I mean, it's been, I think, fourth place, the worst finish all season. So I just have to stay at it, and it's kind of a season of being relentless. It seems like I don't quite have the pace to really run away with races the way I have in previous seasons. I just have to keep my head down and just outpoint everyone. Made up points on Henry today, so that was good. But it's going to be difficult. Just I have to keep making up points wherever I can. I think today we're tied on points, so it's just going to be getting as many points as I can. I don't know if I can go for wins all the time, but it'd be nice to get one. The pace it's kind of there, but it's not all the way there.
Well, looking forward. We wish you the best of luck in the world, Josh, and we'll see you in about a month's time when we head to Laguna Seca.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks to Lucas, Robert, Josh for putting on the series. Thank you guys for the broadcast.
We are more than happy to. That was Josh Chin, your second place finisher here today. And, well, Terry, that was just about as an exciting race as you can imagine. And I'm a little bit upset that we don't have another 71 laps to go.
Yeah, man. I appreciate everybody for letting me take this opportunity to come call an IndyCar race. I've been talking to the RaceSpot guys, and I said, hey, I'm familiar with the oval stuff, with the NASCAR world. I want to be more versed. I want to be that guy that you can call on to come call IMSA, to come call an IndyCar race, to go call anything over the world. I want to be Mr. Worldwide like Pitbull, and to come call a race here. There's so much history behind this circuit. There's so many memories, so many great things that have happened here, and just to be a part of this moment and to see the race that we saw here tonight, what a way for me to start an IndyCar thing. And I'm telling you right now, this is not the last time you're going to see me doing an IndyCar race. I can tell you that much. With the action that was here, this classic IndyCar series put on one heck of a show. I want to be a part of this more often.
Well, fantastic, folks. It looks like we've got another IndyCar convert, and that's exactly what we love to hear. But we would like to thank you for joining us here for the Edifice Sao Paulo Indy 300, a part of the Classic IndyCar Series presented by the Buttkicker. That is about going to wrap things up for us here. But on behalf of Terry Radford, my partner here in the booth, my name is DJ Clark. Connery Maddock has been our director and producer behind the scenes. We would like to thank you for joining us here today. And until we see you on the track, thanks for watching.